Hi everyone, welcome to my Q&A Monday. My name's Hannah. I help people reduce their tax burden and have the lifestyle they deserve. So today, the topic is about the tax breaks for going green. So last week, I've talked about the tax incentives when you choose to live a healthy lifestyle. So today is very similar. We are talking about environment and about how we can make our environment better for the better place for humans to live, and eventually that is better for our health. So at the moment, the government do have some tax incentives for the taxpayers to choose to go green. Things like, I think a couple of weeks ago, I talked about a company car and personal car. There's one important element that is a carbon dioxide emission level. So the lower the carbon dioxide emission level it is, then the less you will get a tax charge on the company car benefit. So if you hire the employee and you provide him or her the company car, so perhaps the person will have a combination of business and private use. So that person will have the tax charge on the personal use of the car. If you are providing a normal car, like a high emission car, that is actually not very beneficial for you, because the employee actually get a higher tax charge. But if you provide the low emission car, things like the car that is under 75 gram per kilometer CO2 emission, or you provide like an electric car, then that is a very beneficial for you. So the employee gets less tax charge on that. And of course, for you as a business owner, by the way, when we talk about employee, if you are the director of the company and you do draw the salary, that the same thing apply to you. So if you do have a car that is purchased under the company name and you are the director and that is for you to use, so that's the same rule apply to you. And the second thing that is for the business tax point of view. So when we buy the company asset, we do get certain level of capital allowance. If you purchase a normal car, you don't get a full amount of capital allowance. So if the car costs £20,000, then that's a normal car. Then the first year you don't get the 100%. You don't get the full £20,000 capital allowance. But if you do buy the very low emission car, of course, low emission car, the cost might be higher. But then you get 100% capital allowance for the year you purchase the car. So that is very beneficial for you. I think if you do want more information, like more details on the company car benefits, then either refer back to the previous episodes, or I put my blog link below, so where I do share some figures, so you can have an idea when you purchase a low emission car and a high emission car, how much tax you can save as a company and as a company director. Okay, so that is a company car. The other thing about company car is, of course, I think the government is very conscious about this carbon dioxide emission. So the other thing related to company car, that is called fuel scale charge. You only need to worry about that when you are VAT registered business, because that is related to VAT. So for the car that has both business and personal elements, personal use, then you might be able to claim the VAT you paid when you have to purchase the fuel, when you have to purchase the petrol. So you do keep your petrol receipts and you might be able to claim the VAT. But that doesn't mean you can claim the full amount of VAT. You cannot claim whatever you paid on the fuel. But then what government does is they put for the tax that you paid, the tax on the purchases you paid, you can put the whole amount on your calculation on your output tax. But then for the ones that when you put the full amount on that doesn't mean you can claim 100% of the amount you paid on VAT. What government does is they put fuel scale charge, so they do take out a certain amount, depends on your car emission. Say this quarter you spend total fuel receipts and the VAT is £200. But then your car, according to your car carbon dioxide emission, you get £140 fuel scale charge. That means you can only claim the difference, which is £60 back from the government. And if your if your car have a higher emission, then the charge becomes higher. Sometimes say it becomes like £400. Then you have to pay back to the government extra £200. So on one side, we need to figure out if using that fuel scale charge that's beneficial for you, work out a way that is cheaper for you. On the other side, that is actually what the government wants you to use a low emission car. So that is kind of a tax incentive. So that is on the car for business use. But what if you choose not to drive the car? The government also have this kind of tax incentive that is called Cycle to Work scheme. So that is fairly new but very popular at the moment. So if you do provide your employees a certain amount of a bicycle voucher each year and to encourage them to cycle to work instead of driving or instead of using public transport, then on one side you encourage them to live a more active lifestyle. On the other side, it's effectively when they don't drive the car, when people drive less, then there will be less CO2 emission. So that will be more environmental friendly. So that is another tax incentive that is available at the moment for you to encourage your employees to live a healthy lifestyle as well as be environmental friendly. Okay, so these are a couple of tax incentives that government use to encourage you to be conscious about the environment, protect the environment from more pollution, from more greenhouse gas. But there are certain things I personally believe that the tax system could have done better, or maybe something the government haven't yet realized because the economy has changed. One thing, as we know, I think I also mentioned in the last episode, that is VAT on certain products. At the moment, there's zero rate VAT on the food that is produced raw and in whole form, things like raw fruit, raw vegetables for human consumption. And that also including the meat, the raw meat that is also for human consumption. Yeah, of course, we think that is when we consume foods that are in the raw and whole form, that is healthier, which is true. But what's happening at the moment is perhaps when it's like decades ago, like a long time ago, when our ancestors produced raw fruit, vegetables, and raw meat, it's more there was less pollution. And also it's more organic. But at the moment, because everything is commercialized, when we produce the commercialized meat, it has created a lot more pollution. It has created as much pollution as people driving cars. So I just done some research. It shows that like the factory farming at the moment, because people want to earn money, the farmers want to make money, so they mass produce the meat. So they mass feed the chicken or feed the livestock. So that effectively, the more animal you have, then the animal, they do produce more carbon dioxide. And certain kind of animal, some like lamb or some livestock, they do have certain, when they produce the gas, then it is actually 25 times more powerful than carbon dioxide. So some research shows that the factory farming or the production of commercial meat, that it produce 51% or more greenhouse gas emission. So that is actually a lot of it, a lot of portion, like majority of the pollution of the greenhouse gas that is from animal agriculture. That is a lot. But apparently, there's not yet, in the UK, there's not yet any tax incentive about it. And also, when we are producing commercial meat, or when people want to feed more animals, it requires more land, more energy, and more water. So that effectively, it takes up a lot of land. When the animal produce the waste, then that is not good for the land as well. So that is another cons for having those animals. And also, when people saying, yeah, what about I choose to have fish? Is that healthier? Is that more environmental friendly? Again, fish farming is also very commercialized. So it's actually create a lot of pollution to the ocean as well, because they do feed the fish different things, like different nutrients. One thing is that it's not as nutritious as before, and the other thing is that is sort of destroy the whole ocean system. So it actually produce a lot of pollution for the ocean as well. So I think this actually, when the government want to use a tax strategy to encourage people to be more environmental friendly, I think this should be one of the things that government need to take into consideration in the next step. One thing, we can be more environmental friendly, and on the other side, you can encourage people to consume more raw vegetables and fruit rather than meat. Because being plant-based or consuming more vegetables and fruit, it's actually better for our health. And also, if you are into diet or nutrition, you are probably familiar with a triangle or the pyramid. So that is fruit and vegetables. That is at the base, because we need more of them. We need more of the nutrients from the vegetables. But then, on the very top of the pyramid, that is a meat. We only need very little portion of meat. That is what healthy, balanced diet it is. Of course, at the moment, there are people going extreme. They going for the movement that they just going vegan, they going vegetarian. It might not appeal to anyone, but for the healthy, for the balanced diet point of view, consuming more raw fruit and vegetables, but less meat, that is actually a good point. That is actually good for your health. So, of course, I think the government do need to have some sort of incentive for people to choose to live a healthier lifestyle by consuming more raw fruit and vegetables than the meat. One thing I think at the moment the government does, at the moment the weight, it's both raw fruit and vegetables and the meat are 0 rated. But why don't governments think about some sort of a tax strategy, tax incentive for people to bring them back to the more balanced diet, more balanced lifestyle? That is one of my humble opinion on the government tax incentive, how it can be better, how it could be more helpful for the government and for the human health. And the other thing, also I find that, the processed food. Of course, when we say processed food, most of people know these are not good for our health. but not all processed food are levied on VAT. I think mainly on ice cream, they are levied on VAT, but things like, for example, the ready-to-eat meal, these are actually zero rated. But of course, ready to like these microwave food, again, these are not good for our health because people, when they produce it, one thing is they have the plastic packaging, one thing, the plastic that is not good for the environment. And on the other side, the ready-to-eat meal, in order to preserve it, the production, they do put more oil in it. So more oil is not good for your health either. But again, that is apparently at the moment that is not levied on VAT. So I think if governments do take certain strategies, saying levy more tax on high emission car, levy more tax on drugs and alcohol, why wouldn't they think about all these meat production or the processed food production? These actually become an issue as well. So I think that's basically government could have considered when it comes to designing this tax system to make it more environmental friendly and also encourage people to live a healthier lifestyle. And, you know, because I am health conscious myself as well, so when it comes to the tax strategy, I do look into this element quite a lot. So I think, yes, the economy has changed. I think perhaps in the so many years ago, when there's not much pollution going on, we were in the relatively sort of healthier environment. The food or the meat, they are produced in the more organic way, which are more nutritious and also less pollution, and they don't have this not many of these greenhouse gas issue. But at the moment, all this meat and food production, they are very commercialized, and people tend to, as before, people think when eating meat is like luxury lifestyle, but at the moment more and more people can afford to have this sort of luxury lifestyle. But apparently, you know, too much of it is not good for our health. So the economy has changed, the environment has changed. So we think the government, it is a time to rethink the tax strategy, to rethink how the tax system can be designed to be both environmental friendly as well as encouraging more people to live a healthier lifestyle. Okay, so of course, if you missed this video, the replay is always available, and it is on YouTube as well. And if you do want to know more figures, which is hard to share in this Facebook Live, but then there is also a blog available where I will share more figures and more research, so you can see what is going on with the world and why we need to have this kind of movement. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Of course, if you do still need some personalized tax strategy or any advice that you want, which is you want that is tailored to you, then I do give a personalized advice to my retainer client. So if you are interested, or if you do have any like sort of specific issues that you only want to talk to me privately, be free to personal message me so we can arrange a chat from there. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I shall see you very soon. Bye now.